So converting mixed numbers to improper fractions, we want to basically divide out the whole parts of the denominator. So in this case here, I know that the 25 divides into 77. I can do this with multiples. So 25, 50, 75. So I have three multiples of 25. That gives me my 75, plus I have an extra 2 25ths left over. So I write this as 3 and 2 25ths. Okay, that plus is implied when we talk about mixed numbers. Now, to do a little bit more formally, which we don't really need to do, I could have done it like this. I could have split it up into 75 over 25 plus 2 over 25. And then this gives me my 3, and this gives me my 2 25ths. And again, I can then write it in the mixed number form of 3 and 2 25ths. Okay, that extra step is not really necessary if you know how to do your multiples. So in this case here, if I do my multiples, I can count 22, 44, 66, 88, and the next multiple is too big. So that's 110. So I'm going to have 4 multiples. That gives me 88. And that leaves me with 16 over 22 left over. Now I can rewrite this as 4 and 16 over 22, which I should simplify to 8 over 11. So there's my answer. Now, one thing I would suggest is that we really should and could simplify this first to 52 over 11, and then do the multiples. I can get 44, and then a leftover of 8 over 11, and I can just do it in the simplified form. Okay, that allows us to work with smaller numbers, to simplify that, to reduce it to lowest terms first, and then convert it to an improper fraction. For improper fraction to mixed numbers, we can write this as 7 over 1 plus 5 over 6. We can multiply by 6 and 6 to give us a common denominator. This gives us 42 plus 5 all over 6, or 47 over 6. Now again, we probably have some quicker strategies to do this if we're good at this. One of them is we can just, since we are just finding multiples of 7 multiples of 6, I can just do 7 times 6 plus 5. That gives me 42 plus 5 over 6, which is 47 over 6. Now we just have to be careful if we're going to use this quicker strategy. We don't want to multiply this and then add 7, because really that negative applies to the whole number. So when we do this, we should make sure that we separate the negative, and then we can do 45 plus 7 all over the common denominator of 15. And so this is negative 52 over 15. Okay, so just be careful. I'm just going to highlight that. Just be careful of that negative on that, and keep that separate from conversion of mixed number to improper fraction. To show picture of fraction multiplication, there's 2 ways we can do this. We could do a fraction of a fraction. So if I want to take my original 1/2 fraction, okay, so I can take a 1/2 fraction like this, and I can take 1/3 of that 1/2 fraction, so I can divide that into 3 equal parts, and that represents 1/6 of the original fraction. So we end up with 1 over 6 that way. The other way is to show multiplication as area. So if I want to show that my answer is 1/6, what I can do is I can take a 1 by 1 square. I know that square has an area of 1. I can take my 1/2 along one axis, and I can take 1/3 along the other axis. So 1/3 here, and I know the answer is going to be the area of 1/3 times 1/2. Well, that is 1 piece out of 6 pieces whole. And again, this allows us to see our top times top, bottom times bottom, because the top times top gives me the 1 piece I'm looking for. The bottom times bottom gives me the number of divisions that make up the whole. For fraction addition, we need to use a different concept here. We want to get a common denominator. Okay, so fraction addition, if I want to have 1/2, I can start with my 1/2 fraction. I have my 1/2 fraction to start with, and I can add it to my I'm going to add that to my 1/3 fraction. So showing a 1/3 fraction. Okay, so there's my 1/3 fraction. To add these together, I need a common denominator. So my common denominator is going to be 6. So I'm going to split this up into 1/6 pieces. So here I have 3/6. Over here I have 2/6. So my final answer is going to be 5 1/6 pieces. Okay, so I'm going to end up with 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as my answer. So that's going to equal 5/6 as the addition of 1/2 plus 1/3. To show a picture that represents fraction division, it's easiest to show it as a ratio of 1/3. Have a 1/3 fraction. So there's my 1/3 fraction here. I have my 1/3 fraction, and I'm going to divide that by 1/2. So I'm going to have a ratio of 1/3 to 1/2. I can see that I have, if I make the pieces the same size, I have basically 2 parts to 3 parts. So 1/3 divided by 1/2 is going to be 2/3. And again, I can justify that if I do this using my fraction division method of times and flip. Yeah, I get the right answer of 2/3. That confirms my picture.